You are now listening to the Lone Wolf
the Lone Wolf podcast.
Me and my friends have a friend called Michael. Me and my friends. Well, me and my friends have a message for you, Michael. Me and my friends. Well, come on, Michael. Push a little harder. Try a little more. Get your feet on the floor. Come on, Michael. You can make it if you want to. It's just not the same without you.
All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 37 of the Lone Wolf podcast. Sorry it's been so long. I don't know. I think with my last episode, which I think was episode 36, I intended to take a break and just look into more of the business side of podcasting, how you market it, promoting it, just how you develop it into more of a brand and more of a business. But that kind of fell by the wayside, and I kind of took quite a long break from podcasting. And also, I've kind of just been in a funk through the holidays. It's not, there's no death or anything related to the holidays or anything bad like that. But I don't know. I don't think it's seasonal depression, but I don't know. I was feeling lazy, I guess, and I kind of bought into that a little bit. But today, episode 37, I realized that, hey, Michael, you need to get your ass out there. And, I wrote about 4 or 5 episodes of notes for podcasts, and I need to actually record these and actually put thmy out there. My original plan actually was to get 40 episodes before the New Year's, and that was like not in early December, but like before my birthday, which was December 23rd. But yeah, that also didn't work out as planned. But yeah, we're here, January 3rd, 2019, which, by the way, a lot of these notes that I wrote were kind of past tense, but I still want to talk about them because, I don't know, in my opinion, they were too good to pass up. So actually, before I get into this, the first subject is there was a Tesla self-driving police chase, but today when I was running Buddy, my dog, I actually noticed like my first high-speed police chase, which I live in Alton, Illinois. It's like a small river town. I've mentioned that many times before, but you don't really see that a whole lot often. These people are just flying, and there was like 3 cop cars immediately after that, which I think it grew to like 10 or 11. And come to find out, it was just over a fraudulent check, I think, and it was like a stolen car from Chicago or something like that. Or I just what I read in the news, but that was actually pretty. I don't know. It was kind of cool to see that in person. Glad no one got hurt, but I don't know. Well, I guess when you live in a small town, you see something like that. It's out of the ordinary. It gets your heart pumping a little bit. But on to this. Yeah. A Tesla. A guy, I guess, had some drinks and then, fell asleep behind the wheel of his Tesla. But, I don't know. You think with a Tesla, with the self-driving thing, you think that, like, it would drive just perfectly, but somehow, I guess, the police noticed that something was up, and so they started to track this guy down. I think he was doing, like, 70 or something like that, which, yet another reason you think Tesla would be like, oh, the speed limit's 45, slow it down to 45, but apparently, this thing was cruising at 70, and it wasn't stopping, so police started chasing it. And then they were like trying to do a maneuver to stop him. Excuse me. Only to find out the guy was sleeping behind the wheel. and that the car itself was the one trying to evade the police. I don't know, dude. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine, first of all, he could have been more responsible. If he planned on drinking and getting behind a wheel, he probably could have ordered like an Uber or a Lyft or a taxi. I don't know. I forget where this was. I think it was in the San Francisco area, which they got plenty of public transportation, but he could have done that. But, yeah, could you imagine just, like, falling asleep and then waking up to, like, a policeman shouting and banging up on your window? You wake up all disoriented and you're like, what the hell's going on? Only to realize that you've been pulled over for a police chase that you had no part of. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. Besides that, once again, this is past tense, but I put out, some select pictures last year during the holidays for sale, and I'm really, really happy to the response with that. So if anybody who likes my pictures have listened to this podcast, I really appreciate that. It was just like a collection of ones around the Alton area, which I probably should have. I probably should have posted all of them. I probably should have posted my Pittsburgh ones, my St. Louis ones, and just cast a wide net with that. And this is before I went to New York, which I'll actually talk about in a later one, which I got some really, really good, actually one of my favorite pictures I've ever done with my Canon M50 camera I got in New York. But yeah, if anyone who bought my picture or listened to this podcast that knows that I take photography, I really want to thank you for your support. It means a lot to me. And yeah, these podcasts are just a bunch of random things. I'll try my best to keep like a thread of narrative going through it, but I can't promise that. But with that being said, here goes the next random subject. I had a dream. It kind of felt heavenly, like the dream. I was in the back of a car and I felt free. I had fun, then went to a party on a giant hill in a mansion. And this mansion, it was like in this beautiful valley. It was on, okay, my bad, I'm sorry. First, yeah, let me just backtrack. So I was with like 4 people in this convertible, and it was like an old school convertible, and we were driving down some type of like country road, and it just felt so free, and it's like I was welcome there, and I belonged here, and that I had no worries. But it went from there to I was in this like beautiful field of green, and there's this huge hill in front of me. But before that hill was like a stream of fresh water, like you would see in Colorado. Up on this hill was this huge mansion, and there was like a big party inside of there, and everyone was having fun and whatnot. And when I woke up, I just felt that's the first dream I can remember where it actually put me in a good mood. A dream that I had in this dream world put me in a good mood. It really almost like such a peaceful state of mind in the real world, and I kind of wonder if maybe I don't know, maybe that house was symbolic of heaven, and maybe, who knows, maybe this deals with more kind of metaphysical stuff, and nothing to my knowledge can prove this is real. But I know me and my uncle have talked about like near-death experiences, and people kind of investigate dreams and kind of these otherworldly experiences. It could have very well been that I had a dream and I experienced a taste of what the other side is like, which is it's freedom, and it's fun, and you feel welcome. Oh yeah, and there was another one I had where I was like biking home from Colorado or through the country. I feel like it started in Colorado or in the mountains somewhere. And that's another like thread through these dreams I had. It always involves traveling, so I guess I just feel, I don't know, I guess I feel like I'm in heaven when I'm traveling. I mean, New York City was pretty fun, but I didn't feel like I was in heaven when I did that. But that's for another episode. But yeah, I was biking through Colorado, and then I once again found myself through this country road type stuff. But it was like Louisiana or something. I'm thinking, how the hell did I bike from Colorado to Louisiana? And then another dream I had, I was with my mom in Atlanta. Like we moved there for some reason. And that was more random, but I don't know. It was just, I had these 3 dreams that were, they all dealt with traveling, going to new places. So I don't know if that's just like my inner or my subconscious telling me to travel more, or that I need to like move somewhere, or what. But I don't know, man. Dreams are really interesting. I feel like I haven't had one in a while. And sorry for all these damn noises. Gosh, I got a message notification. I don't know. I feel like this microphone does a pretty good job at cutting out sound, but there's all kinds of bams and bangs and all that shit happening. But then there's the kind of, I don't know if it's nihilistic. I guess nihilistic would be the right word, point of view on that. And I was actually at work and I just floated this out there. I said, what if dreams are just our brain unloading pointless data? And what if there's nothing to be learned from them? I personally don't believe in that, and I don't think I'd want to believe in that because that's kind of like one of the little spices life gives you that makes it just a little bit more interesting from the more trivial, monotonous type stuff that happens. Oh yeah, since I mentioned Colorado in that last part about the dream I had, I wonder if leftists get triggered by the people who have the native Colorado stickers. Have you ever been to Colorado? You've seen them. Who knows? They probably think, no, you are not a native. Your people, the white people, are not native. You stole this land from the actual natives. Acknowledge your white privilege and denounce your native citizenship to this land, you bigot. I think why they have those actually is because of all the stupid-ass Californians coming in and trying to turn Colorado into another California. Specifically Denver, though, which, might I add, is kind of an overrated city. I know because I live there. The beautiful mountain towns are where it's at when it comes to Colorado. Denver is just a mini LA, a desert with bad traffic. But it's got legal weed, so it's great for all the stoners. But I think these people probably have the stickers so they can show pride in where they're from before it becomes Diet California. But you know, man, it really just has to be miserable to be a leftist. I'm quite surprised they don't just off themselves in big quantities. Like, I know this sounds bad, but part of me wouldn't mind. Or wouldn't feel bad if they did that. Isn't it ironic, though? The people who aren't natives telling people to not call themselves a native because they're not native. Which, by the way, dude, don't you hate when people say, isn't that ironic? I'm like, no, it's not ironic. You know why? Because there's no irony in what you're saying is ironic, you dumbass. And by the way, whoever says Alanis Morissette's hit song Ironic doesn't have ironies in it, you're a dumbass. Have you ever heard of a thing called situational irony? The song is filled with them. While they may not be cut and dry like saying a fire station burned down, they are indeed in there. And actually, I'm going to play the ironic song at the end of this, so keep your ears peeled for all the situational ironies in which she listens to the song. I don't know, for some reason I've just been listening to Jagged Little Pill a lot lately. And for those of you who don't know, it was one of the biggest, it's probably one of the biggest albums of all time, but definitely of the 90s. I mean, it just had like so many hits on it. And that album kind of defined like the alternative female 90s sound. But moving on here, Laura Loomer, and once again, this isn't really new news, but yeah, she got banned from Twitter and she's getting banned from all these things for just pointing out how anti-Semitic all these leftist organizations are. And it just got me thinking about Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter and Square Incorporated. You know, you think him growing up in the Midwest, St. Louis specifically, which, by the way, speaking of St. Louis, rates as the most dangerous city in America as far as violence per capita. But you think old Jack ban everyone Dorsey would have a little bit less of an elitist cunt attitude? But no, he does, and he's the worst of them. And actually, a lot of Twitter is owned, I think the second biggest shareholder is owned by a Saudi Arabian businessman. So he's in bed with Islam. So it doesn't surprise me that he bans Jewish people and people trying to defend themselves from hateful ideologies, such as Islam. The same Islam, by the way, who just beheaded 2 Denmark girls who were backpacking in Morocco. And if you haven't heard the story, it basically goes like this. 2 girls go hiking. The plan was to probably summit Mount Toubkal. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Which is the highest summit in North Africa. But they end up getting captured and killed, with one of them being beheaded. And the beheading was filmed, then posted. It was a vile act of terror and another example of how Islam is not the religion of peace. It is a religion filled with barbarians and is, for the most part, incompatible with modern civilization. It is a religion that breeds violent extremism that was probably considered normal 3,000 years ago, not in 2018. Honest to God, though, I blame the educators and politicians of Denmark. They are yet another Scandinavian country who somehow believe the propaganda of diminishing national values. And in importing so-called refugees from Somalia without assimilation. And they thought that would be good. Then, when that doesn't work, instead of addressing the problem, they brainwash their citizens into believing lies. These girls are probably the victims of such state-sponsored propaganda. In fact, I think one of the victims posted something about some type of propaganda video about these police were, like, she was staring, this I don't know, this white person, Danish person was staring at this, looked like a Muslim guy or a Middle Eastern guy, and she thought the police were going to go after him because there was police on the way, and they're arresting this white guy for some reason. And the whole message was just don't judge these people. Like, don't use your instinct to say that, hey, like, trends happen in this country, and it's usually committed by this certain group of people that we imported. No, let's not do that. Let's just be colorblind and not use common sense. But one of the girls that got killed posted that. But yeah, both of them believed that, and they thought when they went to Morocco, they thought, oh, Islam is a peaceful religion. We'll be okay in the Muslim country of Morocco. Next thing, they're tied up, beaten, raped, and awaiting death. Shame on Denmark. This news also comes right after a video of a woman being beaten up by a pack of migrants in Denmark, and a shooting in France yet again by a Muslim. I tell you what, it's good to see the people of Europe are waking up, though. They have had enough with their government abandoning them for the sake of globalism, and since I've been mentioning Denmark a lot, they're doing it too. They're putting the unwanted migrants on an island while they get ready to deport them back to their country, and good for them. But yeah, that was my little political part. And by the way, there's extremists with all kinds of things, but it's just when you notice the trend in America and all these Western worlds, I don't want to be that exclusive towards a group of people because of the extremist ones, but for the sake of your national safety, you kind of have to have that attitude. It's unfortunate for the people who do associate with that religion but aren't bad, but it's just a reality. Like, it's a common thing that Americans and people in Western civilization keep getting attacked by these people, and we have to stand up to it. But on to the next subject here. I have recently been playing some video games again, and one of the ones, I guess the first one I mentioned is Red Dead Redemption 2, which, let me just say, dude, so freaking good. Probably, it's been a while since I played Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5. No, it's 5. But, I mean, it ranks up there with it, if not surpassing it somehow. It's so freaking good. Like, the insane amount of detail that went into that game. I remember they were like working insane hours to get the game finished, but, and you could tell when you're playing the game, but for example, somewhere along the line, some developer leapt from his seat and said, hey gang, I got an idea. Let's make the game so realistic that when the weather gets cold, Arthur Morgan, which is the main character, his horse's balls shrink. And the rest of them said, yes, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do it. And then they did it. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't go into a game looking to see if the animal's balls shrink. But I'm sure glad they put that amount of care and detail in the game, because it leads to a pretty absolutely immersive playing experience. And Arthur Morgan is, without a doubt, like one of my favorite game characters I've played. But it's not just Arthur Morgan and the immersive details that make it good. As always, when it comes to good games and movies, story is king, and this has a very, very, very good story. One that I won't spoil for you, but trust me, it's worth playing. And the other one, I actually just got back to playing it. I gave up on a fairly easy mission. I was just, I don't know, that's one of the problems we have all these options when, like, you get something that's a little bit hard, you don't want to fight that resistance. Even with a video game, it's so stupid. you just move on to the next one. But I got back to playing this game, God of War 4, I believe. I think it's either 4 or 5. And once again, dude, just an absolutely amazing game. You're Kratos, so you're the same character that you were in the previous ones, but now you're in a ancient part of Norway called Midgard. And honestly, I don't even know how far I'm into the game yet, but you have to go to the mountain, and you gotta go to the summit of the mountain, and it's just you go all these. It's kind of like The Hobbit a little bit. You go to these high up places in these valleys and look for things and find things, and you're on the quest to find this certain thing. But dude, the soundtrack, the action, the character, and the visuals are all amazing. It really makes me wish I had a PS4 Pro, like a 4K HDR TV, because just the subtlety of how it's not even really subtlety. Just the colors are much more vibrant. And if you don't know, HDR means it stands for high dynamic range. So all the highlights and the clouds and the sky and just all the subtleties you can now see. And I kind of wish, I wish I just had that. I probably should have used my Amazon gift cards that I got for Christmas to buy one. But yeah, I mean, well, I'd have to buy a whole new PS4, and I don't want to go through all that work. But it's actually funny. Like, I had a really good workout the other day, and I was just picturing myself being Kratos, because he's like this badass character, and he's in, ancient Scandinavia, and he's dressed like a Viking, and my last name's Wolf, which comes from Norse Viking ancestry, and it actually used to be spelled, I think, ULF or ULFE, and it just means wolf, but like the animal. I don't know. I never thought when I'd be working out that I'd tap into like a fictional character for inspiration to have a good workout. But dude, honestly, God, he's just so freaking manly and jacked and alpha that it makes me want to look like him. But yeah, dude, I can't wait for just finish that game and just reflect on all that you did, and maybe just I hope that like a lot of the video games now, once you finish them, there's a lot more like open story and side missions to do and whatnot. That's one of the things I really like about Rockstar is like you follow the main missions, and once you're done with that, you get all these side stories and all these just optional stuff to do that you can spend just as much time, if not more, doing that than you did on the story. But I tell you what, I really need to try to do is get back to playing Metal Gear Solid 5, which I don't even think I've gotten to the second chapter or the second mission of the game yet, which is inexcusable. The game's been out I think it came out in 2015, and I've had it longer than both of those games combined. And I've heard it's like one of the best PS4 games, period. And Hideo Kojima, I think that's his name, he's got a solid history of just creating like really, really good games. But something sidetracked me with that, and I haven't gone back since. Which is a shame, because I remember back in the day on PS2, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater was like one of the most challenging games I ever played, but also one of the most rewarding. And by the way, for those of you out there that hate on guys who play games, go fuck yourselves. You can still be a productive member of society and accomplish your goals while finding a slice, even the smallest slice of time to play games. I've loved them as a kid. I still love them. To me, they're such magnificent works of art, and I will support them for being just that. But of course, as I've gotten older, I've realized that how much of a time drain they can be, like social media. So I try to be aware of it while I am being immersed in it, but I ain't gonna stop playing it. And yeah, yet another mention of like this podcast just being all over the place. This episode in particular was just like so many things from so many areas just thrown into the podcast. But one thing I did want to say is, and this is kind of old news, I want to say R.I.P. to George H.W. Bush. But I guess this is more like about the surrounding stuff around that. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that somehow it was important enough to announce on the news that the announcement for Grammys were postponed due to the ceremony of George H.W. Bush. Like, Hollywood and the entertainment industry I don't know how long or how much it's going to take to get it through your head. But absolutely no one gives a fuck about the elitist Trump-bashing circle jerk that is award shows. This shit doesn't matter in the real world. Like, it's not newsworthy to say, hey, we're postponing the announcements. No one gave a fuck about that anyways. But that was music, and now on to religion. Yeah, this is the thought I had, dude. Like, I guess my views are considered kind of Christian, but I mean they're pretty aligned with Christian morals and values. But I was just seeing videos and whatnot, and on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm telling you what, dude, charismatic churches are absolute charlatans. I believe that, in the time of the Bible, God gave the apostles the ability to speak in tongues. And the miracles did happen when Jesus was here. When Jesus was here. But these charismatic churches of these people having these laughing fits and laying on the ground, spazzing out. The preacher somehow having this mysterious power that all he's got to do is wave his arms and the whole crowd gets knocked down. These people are just, in my opinion, they make the religion look bad, honestly. People from the outside looking in and think, what the hell is wrong with these people? These people are possessed, and not in a good way. They're having these laughing fits, and I don't know, it just all seems like everyone's in on this joke. It's just it's controlled chaos is what it is, and thank God I got out of church, and I probably won't ever go back. I mean, I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. I believe a lot of things, but the sheep-like mentality when you go to churches and the fanaticism about the beliefs, it's just I don't know. I don't think it's efficient. I guess efficient's the right word, and I guess I just respect my individuality too much and my freedom too much to let myself go back to an environment like that, especially coming from the very controlling one that I used to be part of, but I've left going on 7 years ago. In December of 2019, it'll be 7 years. And I do not regret doing that. But on to the next random subject. It's the way my mind works, gosh damn it. Yeah, dude, these fucking parents that won't give a gender to their kids and like let them figure out who they are completely destroying their role as a parent. Mind you, I'm not a parent yet, but I have two parents who did a good job raising me, and one of the many things they did was teach me right from wrong and tell me when I was an idiot and when I was acting stupid. They didn't say, oh, we'll trust he'll figure it out while we just watch him. You might as well not even bother raising the child. Like, your role has now become sperm donor and birther. Your job as a parent is to, let them have freedom, but also be stern with them. Let them be some form of even if the parents are absolute anxiety-ridden mess, and their sense of confidence is a bravado, you have to be some source of stability and some rock, some foundation that they can build off on. You can't I just don't get it. Like, what role do you play in this relationship now? It's just that these people are absolutely nuts, and I wish, honest to God, they would just not reproduce. In my opinion, it's a perversion of what parenthood should be. And speaking of a different kind of perversion by the left, because the left are the people that are pushing this non-gender binary child shit. Brooklyn's $3 Club allowed an 11-year-old boy who's a drag queen on stage to entertain all the perverts. The parents, in my opinion, should be investigated, and the club should be shut down. This is nothing short of child exploitation on both parties. And I'll also mention that Desmond, I think it's like Desmond is Amazing is the kid's name. That kid needs to go through some serious psychotherapy. 11-year-olds and little children should not be identifying as the opposite sex and exploiting themes of sexuality publicly. Don't say this out of hatred for the boy, but rather because statistics show that people who are trans or have gender dysphoria, a legit mental illness, which was, that's clinical. That's all kinds of science that goes in there. I know leftists hate science because it disagrees with this whole thing of like, I believe this, therefore the world must be malleable to my ridiculous beliefs. But these statistics say that transgender people are 40 to 45% likely to kill themselves. And I don't want this boy, because that's what he biologically is, to kill himself in the future. I don't want his family to go through that. I'm not saying he will, but there's a growing chance. I also don't want the wrong people to get their hands on him and do actual damage to him sexually and mentally. But amidst all this political and social commentary, I want to just keep this a good trend of my solo podcast to end the podcast on good news. Because we're just spoon-fed and we're constantly forced to just react to everything negatively. Nothing, it's always negative everything pushed in our face. Even if it's not that negative, there's some type of words that are put, some type of doubtful negative words that are put in the article that we're reading. It's just sickening. But so this good news happened. A Secret Santa in Phoenix, Arizona enlisted the help of an unlikely elf to spread some Christmas cheer earlier this week. An anonymous, kind-hearted businessman asked a homeless man named Moses Elder to hand out $100 bills to complete strangers who he believed demonstrated kindness or a need for generosity. Elder was given $3,000 in total for his mission, and he started by standing on the street and holding out a cup to ask pedestrians for loose change. Some people hurried past him, while others stopped and offered him their money. And those who did were in for a complete surprise. In exchange for acknowledging him, Elder would hand them a $100 bill and thank them for their kind heart. Or he would simply exclaim, "God bless," as they parted ways. And many people who received the cash gifts had to fight back tears. Most of them didn't expect someone who was homeless to offer anything back. And that's the exact notion that the Secret Santa wanted to expel with his gift giving. And the Secret Santa told CBS News, quote, "You know, it's a myth that the homeless just take. From my experience, the people with the least give the most of what they have." End quote. One of the people who actually received the cash from Elder was Danny McCoy, a father of 7 kids who was struggling to provide Christmas gifts for his family. While most of Elder's cash recipients were strangers, he did offer some money to 2 people he knew from church. One man received $400, while a homeless mother of 5 received $500. Needless to say, Santa was sure to give Elder some money as well, but the homeless man said the best part of the entire experience was being able to show kindness and help others in need. He ended with this quote, "You know, kindness is a bridge between all people, so if you're ever down and you want to lift yourself up, go do something kind for somebody." Guys, thank you so much for listening to episode 37. Sorry for the hiatus, but I will try to be back with some more podcasts, both solo and guest, but I think most of them past these first 3 or so are going to be guests. I got a lot of guests I want to interview. I need to actually schedule them. I've just been trying to do a lot of stuff this past month or so, but thank you so much for listening to episode 37 and have a great day.
It's a death row pardon, 2 minutes too late. And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride on your already paid. It's the good advice that you just didn't take. And who would have thought it figures when you're already late. And no smoking sign on your cigarette break. It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife. It's meeting the man of my dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife. And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? A little too ironic. And yeah, I really do think